Prayer to Saint Anthony for an urgent miracle. If your miracle hasn't come yet, stay with me until the end. Saint Anthony is already preparing something extraordinary for your life. You don't need to have all the answers right now. You don't need to fix everything today. This sacred space is your pause, a moment to breathe, to feel, and to believe again. If your heart is heavy, if your soul is tired, or if you're just clinging to one final shred of hope, you are in the right place. Saint Anthony walks beside those who feel lost, weary, or forgotten. He is not just the patron of lost things, he is the voice of hope when all others go silent. He is the miracle in the midnight hour. So if you're facing a sickness that won't go away, a financial crisis that never seems to end, or a broken relationship that feels impossible to mend, lean in. There is healing here. There is light in the waiting. This is the moment your miracle begins. Let your heart whisper one word of faith. You're not alone. God is near, and Saint Anthony is already interceding for you. If someone is heavy on your heart right now, type their name in the comments so we can pray together and carry each other in faith. O glorious Saint Anthony, I come before you with a heart trembling in silence, holding the weight of sickness, anxiety, and broken dreams. You who have walked beside the poor and the forgotten, who have brought back the lost and restored the impossible, intercede for us now. You know our pain. You know what it's like to cry out to heaven with nothing but hope. There is someone listening now who is at the edge, wondering if the miracle will ever come. Maybe they've tried everything. Maybe they feel unworthy of a blessing. But I ask you, Saint Anthony, show them today that no case is too desperate, no burden too great, and no soul too far gone for the mercy of God. Stretch your holy hands toward the broken body that needs healing, the fractured family that needs mending, the jobless heart that's losing hope. Intercede for every person calling your name, believing in the impossible. Let them feel the warmth of your presence in this very moment. May their tears be turned into testimony. You who have found lost children, lost love, and lost faith, help us find what's been missing. Speak to heaven for us, Saint Anthony, not just with words, but with the urgency of our desperation. Whisper our names before God. Tell him we are waiting, broken, but believing. You are the bridge between despair and divine intervention. We trust in your powerful intercession. Stay with us until the end of this prayer, because something sacred is unfolding. And if someone listening is tempted to give up, hold their heart and carry them through. Leave a comment with the word miracle if you believe Saint Anthony is already working behind the scenes. The miracle that begins when you let go. There comes a moment when you've done all you can. You've talked, begged, worked, waited and cried until no more words come. That's when the real miracle starts, not when you try harder, but when you finally let go. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means giving in to God's perfect timing, to his unseen hand, to the quiet faith that whispers, "You're not alone." And Saint Anthony, he shows up exactly here, in this space where the noise fades and your soul sighs in surrender. He comes when the doctors don't know what to say, when the bills stack higher than your strength, when the child you love drifts farther than your arms can reach. That's when he kneels beside you, not as a saint on a pedestal, but as a friend who knows the ache of waiting. He was a man who walked among the hurting, who knew that sometimes healing comes slower than we hope, but deeper than we expected. He's not distant, he's present. And when you whisper his name with a trembling voice, heaven hears it louder than a shout. Your prayer isn't small to him. Your tears are not unnoticed. And the miracle you're waiting for? It may already be unfolding behind the veil. Some miracles start invisibly, a shift in someone's heart, A door creaking open, a diagnosis softening, a voice calling after years of silence. Don't miss it just because it doesn't look like you expected. Saint Anthony specializes in subtle beginnings that lead to supernatural breakthroughs. Maybe today is the day you stop asking how and start saying yes. Yes to faith. Yes to healing. Yes to being held, even when you feel forgotten. You've been strong for so long. But what if strength looks like resting for a moment, breathing deeply, and allowing Saint Anthony to carry your burden? That financial emergency doesn't define you. That broken relationship doesn't erase your worth. That sickness doesn't cancel your calling. When you release your grip on control, you make space for God to move. And he often moves through the humble hands of Saint Anthony. What are you gripping so tightly right now? What if you opened your hands just a little? Picture yourself standing at a locked door. You've knocked, cried, waited, and nothing. But what if Saint Anthony holds the key? What if the lock was never broken, just waiting for divine timing? He has opened prison cells, found lost people, restored the ruined, and healed the broken-hearted. There is no request too impossible for the one who walks in God's favor. Even if all you can say is, "Please help," that's enough to shake heaven. Sometimes the miracle isn't fixing what's outside, but freeing what's inside. The fear that paralyzes, the shame that haunts, the doubt that drowns. Saint Anthony's prayer isn't magic, but it is powerful, because it points not to him but to Jesus, the source of every true miracle. And when a saint prays for you, the heavens lean in. There's a reason why millions turn to him when all else fails, because he listens and he acts. What if today something shifted? Not everything, just one thing, one glimmer of hope, one answered message, one doctor who says, "Let's try again." That's how miracles begin, quietly, but real. They don't always shout, but they always change things. And sometimes what changes first is your heart. Open it now. Whisper your need, not your polished version, but your raw truth. Tell Saint Anthony what hurts, what feels empty, what feels impossible. He already knows. But saying it out loud invites heaven into your silence. And in that silence, God is speaking through the saint. I see you. I'm not late. I'm preparing the answer. So many testimonies begin like this. I didn't think anything would happen, but I prayed anyway. And then something did. A call, a shift, a peace, a change. You don't need to feel strong to pray this. You just need to feel willing to hope again, willing to trust again, willing to say, "Saint Anthony, come close." Ooh, he always comes close. He's walking with you in the waiting, sitting beside you in the silence, and holding your hand in the valley where you thought no one would go. You don't need to fight for God's attention. You already have it. Saint Anthony is whispering your name to heaven right now, and heaven is moving even if you can't see it yet. Let yourself believe it. This isn't the end. This is the beginning. What's been stuck is shifting. What's been silent is stirring. What felt like loss may be the very ground where your miracle takes root. God never wastes a prayer. Saint Anthony never ignores a cry. And today, something holy is already happening. If you felt something stir in your heart during this mystery, type "I believe" in the comments. Let Saint Anthony know you're ready for the miracle to begin. When every door closes, Saint Anthony opens one. There are moments in life when every road seems blocked. You try one path, then another, and every single one feels like a dead end. It's easy in those moments to think God has forgotten you. But what if, behind every closed door, there's a reason? What if he's redirecting, not rejecting? Saint Anthony understands the heartbreak of waiting. He knows what it's like to feel like your life is stuck in a loop, and he comes into those very places where progress is frozen and hope feels fragile, because he's the saint of the stuck, the guide of the lost, the restorer of forward motion. So many are burdened right now. Bills on the table, no job callback, bank account nearly empty. And it's not just about money, it's about worth, about being seen, about wondering if your work, your hands, your effort even matter anymore. Saint Anthony doesn't just bring money, he brings meaning. He restores not only what you've lost, but what you've forgotten, your purpose. When you pray for a job, pray also for dignity, for renewal, for divine direction. Imagine waking up tomorrow and receiving that message you've waited months for. We have an opening and you came to mind. That moment is closer than you think. Miracles don't always knock loudly. Sometimes they arrive as quiet whispers, a nudge, a new idea while washing dishes or waiting in line. Saint Anthony is the saint of subtle signs. Pay attention. That neighbor's offer, that unexpected message, that small moment of favor, it might be divine setup. Your miracle may not come through the door you've been watching. It may come from an angle you never considered. That's why surrender is powerful. It opens space for God to move freely. Saint Anthony isn't asking you to stop trying. He's asking you to start trusting. You've carried so much for so long. What if today you let God carry you for a while, even just for today, even just for this hour? Faith doesn't always shout. It often whispers in your exhaustion. Try one more time. Update the resume again. Say one more prayer. Reach out one more time. And if you've already done all that, then rest. Breathe. Let Saint Anthony do what only he can do. He knows the pressure of financial emergency. He knows the fear of the unknown. But he also knows the power of divine breakthrough at the last minute, in the final hour, when all else has failed. What if the delay wasn't denial? What if it was preparation? Not just for the blessing, but for you to be ready to receive it fully, humbly, wisely. Saint Anthony sees beyond what you see. While you ask for a paycheck, he may be bringing you purpose. While you beg for survival, he's preparing you for overflow. You don't have to understand how. You just need to be open. This is where transformation begins, not in wealth, but in worth. Your value is not determined by your income. Your identity is not your job title. Saint Anthony is praying for your restoration, financial, emotional, spiritual. And restoration takes time, but it always brings fruit. Let the first fruit be peace, the kind that says, God hasn't left me. Some people are one miracle away from freedom. Others are one act of faith away. Maybe today your step is simple. Believe again, speak life again. Trust again. It doesn't have to make sense. It just has to be sincere. Say this in your heart. I believe Saint Anthony is working on my behalf even now. That declaration might shift everything. You are not forgotten. Your needs are not invisible. Heaven knows what's due, and Saint Anthony brings that petition before the throne. Every time you say, please help me, he responds with, I'm already here. You are not asking too much. You are not too late. You are not too broken. You are loved, seen, heard, and help is on the way. If you feel like everyone else is moving forward and you're falling behind, take heart. Saint Anthony walks with those who lag behind. He pushes open doors for the ones left outside. The job you're praying for may be preparing itself for you. The help you need may be already en route. The solution you crave may be coming in a form you never imagined. Do not despise small beginnings. Miracles often start with mustard seeds, a phone call, a name remembered, a contact forwarded, a prayer whispered. Saint Anthony blesses both the big and the small, because every act of faith counts. What you offer today, a prayer, a dollar, a hopeful word, may be the spark that lights your miracle. You are not just surviving, you are being prepared to thrive. This is your season to rise again, not by force, but by faith. Trust Saint Anthony. Let go of panic. Breathe deep. Walk with him. He's not done writing your story, and this chapter may just surprise you. The best breakthroughs often come after the darkest wait. Your miracle may not be delayed. It may be on schedule. If your heart is ready to receive your miracle job, provision, or purpose, comment, "Open the door" below. Let Saint Anthony know you're trusting him to make a way. The faith that moves the heart of heaven. Faith isn't about having all the answers. It's about trusting, even when there are none. It's choosing to believe when everything around you screams that it's over. And that kind of faith, that desperate, trembling, raw kind of faith, it moves heaven. Saint Anthony knows this well. He has witnessed what happens when a broken soul believes anyway. He's seen the miracle come at the last second. He's seen what God can do with just a mustard seed. Sometimes the most powerful prayer is the weakest voice saying, "Help me." That cry touches Saint Anthony's heart because it's real, it's honest, and it's holy. You don't need perfect words or long sentences. Just your heart laid bare. He listens, not like a statue, but like a friend. And he doesn't just listen, he acts. The saints don't replace God, but they intercede with him. Think of them like holy messengers, carrying your prayers higher, louder, deeper into heaven. Saint Anthony isn't just a symbol, he's a servant who pleads for your miracle with urgency. And the more faith you place in this connection, the more powerful the prayer becomes. Faith doesn't change God, it changes us, and it opens doors for him to move. There are people who experience miracles not because they were the strongest, but because they were the most surrendered. They laid down their pride, their logic, their plans, and said, "Lord, have your way." That is the prayer Saint Anthony honors most. Not the performance, but the posture. Not the strength, but the surrender. Do you feel like your faith is too small? That's okay. Even a flicker of belief can light up a dark night. Saint Anthony can fan that flame for you, reminding you that you're never praying alone. Every time you say his name, a spark ignites in heaven. He's already at work, even in silence. The enemy wants you to think nothing is happening, but faith sees beyond the silence. It believes healing is coming, even when symptoms scream otherwise. It believes reconciliation is possible, even after years of separation. It believes God can move, especially when we least expect it. Saint Anthony doesn't just bring back what's been lost. He revives what's been forgotten, your confidence, your joy, your peace, your hope. He brings it back slowly, gently, like dawn breaking after a long night. If you've lost the will to keep believing, let this be your reset. Let this be the day you say, "I still believe." Do you remember the last time you felt peace? It can return. Not because your situation changes, but because your faith does. Faith doesn't remove the storm. It gives you shelter within it. And Saint Anthony is here to be your shelter, your intercessor, your anchor in the winds. You're not as lost as you think. You're just being led. Miracles don't always come wrapped in thunder and light. Sometimes they come in a whisper, in a conversation, in a moment of stillness. Faith is the lens that helps you see the miracle in motion. And when Saint Anthony intercedes, he magnifies that movement. He asks God not only for answers, but for transformation. Faith is also about repetition, showing up in prayer again and again, even when you don't feel like it. That's how chains break. That's how spiritual walls fall. Pray when you're tired. Pray when you're discouraged. Pray when you feel nothing. Each prayer builds a bridge, and Saint Anthony walks that bridge with you. He doesn't leave halfway. There are stories of parents who prayed every night for their children until the day they came home, of people who begged for healing and one day woke up pain-free, of those drowning in debt who received unexpected provision that made no sense, except to God. Those miracles didn't come from perfect prayers. They came from persistent faith. Faith that leaned into Saint Anthony with trust. And if you've been praying for a long time, don't stop. The longer the wait, the deeper the miracle. Some blessings are so big, they take time to prepare. And Saint Anthony is preparing something just for you. Let that truth carry you today. There are angels dispatched because of faith. There are doors opening you can't yet see. Saint Anthony is already at the Father's feet, mentioning your name, and heaven does not delay without reason. Sometimes the waiting is the miracle itself. The longer you stay in prayer, the more peace begins to replace panic. That's not a feeling, it's a spiritual shift. It's the power of intercession at work. It's Saint Anthony saying, "You are not forgotten, God is not finished." Let that promise steady your steps. Whatever your miracle looks like, healing, a job, a reunion, clarity, believe it's possible, not because of what you feel, but because of who God is, and because Saint Anthony has never stopped fighting for you. This is your moment to believe again, to stand in faith, to declare, "It is done," because heaven listens and heaven answers. If your faith has been rekindled during this mystery, write, "I believe in miracles," in the comments. Let Saint Anthony know you're standing in faith for what's coming. The surrender that unlocks the supernatural. There is a moment in every journey of faith when the fight turns into surrender, not weakness, but worship. It's when you stop trying to force the outcome and start trusting the one who already knows the ending. Saint Anthony gently leads us to that sacred threshold where striving ends and surrender begins, where we say, "Not my will, but yours be done," and something supernatural starts to shift. This is not giving up, it's giving in to divine love. You've done your part. You've prayed, fasted, hoped, and tried everything you knew. Now is the time to rest in what God can do through Saint Anthony's intercession. This surrender isn't passive, it's powerful. It says, "I will not panic, I will not fear, I will believe." Because surrender is the seed of miracles, and when the soil of your soul is ready, God plants something new. That seed may look invisible now, but it will grow. When you surrender, you free yourself from the illusion of control. You stop measuring God's goodness by how fast He answers. You begin to say, "Even if I don't understand, I trust you." Saint Anthony helps us hold on to that peace in the unknown, and in that space, grace flows freely. There is a kind of freedom that only comes when you say, "Lord, I let go." Freedom from fear, from resentment, from outcomes you can't control. Saint Anthony reminds us that peace doesn't come from getting what we want. It comes from trusting the one who knows what we need. Your healing may begin the moment you stop trying to fix everything and simply rest in God's presence. That's where restoration begins. Your home may be filled with tension right now. Silent dinners, cold stares, wounds too deep for words. But surrender invites God into the cracks. Saint Anthony carries your prayer into the heart of divine love. He prays for reconciliation where your strength is gone. He pleads for tenderness where your heart is hardened. And his intercession brings warmth where bitterness used to live. There's something holy about releasing what hurts most. It doesn't mean the pain disappears instantly. It means you're no longer holding it alone. Saint Anthony is holding it with you. He carries the weight with compassion and power, and heaven responds to this kind of faith-filled surrender. Have you tried to change someone who refuses to listen? Surrender them. Hand their name to Saint Anthony. He knows how to reach hearts you cannot touch. He knows how to soften walls you cannot break. He knows how to bring them back home when the time is right. When you lay your fears at God's feet through Saint Anthony, you begin to walk lighter. The storm may still rage, but your soul starts to calm. That's the miracle that no one else sees, but you feel it. And that kind of inner miracle often leads to outer transformation. Let it start inside you today. The truth is, we all reach the end of ourselves. That's not failure. It's the beginning of dependence on God. And Saint Anthony teaches us that true strength is found in surrender. It's the moment you let go of your plan and trust in God's purpose. Even when you don't see the outcome, you can trust His heart. Some people spend years running in circles, trying to fix their lives. But what if your greatest breakthrough comes when you stop running and start surrendering? Saint Anthony wants to walk with you, not ahead of you, not behind you, but beside you. And he will, if you let him. This is your sacred pause. Your children may not be listening right now. Your spouse may seem distant, but the battle for your family isn't yours alone anymore. Give it to Saint Anthony. Let him pray for your household like you would, only louder. Let his voice echo through heaven's courts on behalf of your loved ones. And then, rest. Watch what unfolds. What if surrender is the very thing that brings your family back together? What if peace returns not by pushing harder, but by releasing deeper? That's what Saint Anthony teaches. Miracles come not from force, but from faith. And faith is strongest when we say, I trust you, no matter what. That's where breakthrough lives. You may be facing a health crisis right now. The doctors have done all they can. The medicines have reached their limits. But surrender invites the great physician to step in. And Saint Anthony brings your healing request straight to his hands. It may not look how you imagined, but healing is still possible. There is healing for the body, for the heart, for the mind, and there is healing for the past. Saint Anthony knows how to redeem time. He can restore years lost to addiction, illness, estrangement. He can rebuild what fell apart. But first, you must surrender it. What are you holding on to today? A fear, a timeline, an outcome. Let it go, just for this moment, and whisper this: I surrender this to God through Saint Anthony. That one sentence may change everything. When you let go, your hands are free to receive. What blessing might be waiting that your grip has blocked? Open your hands. Open your heart. Saint Anthony is ready to fill them again, with joy, with peace, with holy provision. And remember, surrender is not a one-time act. It's a daily decision, a sacred rhythm, a way of walking in trust. So don't feel bad if you have to lay it down again tomorrow. Saint Anthony will still be there, ready to help you surrender again. The path of surrender leads to supernatural rest, not the kind that comes from sleep, but from soul alignment. That sense of, I'm not alone, I'm not in control, but I'm okay. That's peace. That's healing, that's divine, and it begins with trust. So breathe, release, rest. Let the power of this moment sink deep into your spirit. Saint Anthony is with you. He's carrying your prayer even now. Let go and let God do what only He can do. There's something powerful about saying, I don't need to have it all figured out. That moment of honesty becomes an invitation for heaven to enter. Saint Anthony doesn't ask you to be perfect. He asks you to be real. And when you're real with God, miracles begin in the most unexpected places. You are loved even in your questions. And surrender invites answers you didn't even know you needed. When you stop chasing control, you make space for transformation. Sometimes, the biggest breakthrough is inside you, not around you. Saint Anthony helps you release the burden of being your own savior. You were never meant to carry it all. Let the weight fall off your shoulders now. Let God be God again. We often think surrender means silence, but it actually brings clarity. When the noise of striving stops, you can finally hear what God is whispering. Saint Anthony creates that silence for you, shielding your heart from chaos. And in that stillness, your next step often becomes obvious. Not because you forced it, but because peace made it clear. Let that peace be your compass now. So much healing is waiting on the other side of surrender. Not only healing for your situation, but healing for your soul. Saint Anthony has seen it time and time again. Wounds mended in prayer, families restored not by force but by faith, lives redirected through quiet obedience. This surrender may just be your miracle's doorway. If you've been holding on too tightly, this is your sign to let go. Place it all, your worries, your timelines, your hopes, in God's hands. Let Saint Anthony lift it from your heart and carry it to heaven. You don't need to understand everything to receive peace. You just need to trust that surrender is not the end, it's the beginning. And the miracle often begins the moment you finally let go. If your heart is ready to surrender the outcome and trust in divine timing, write "I surrender" in the comments and invite Saint Anthony to carry your burden today. There's a quiet kind of strength that comes when you finally believe the miracle is already on its way, even when your eyes can't see it. Even when your heart still trembles, this is the moment when faith transforms into full trust, not in outcomes, but in God's timing. Saint Anthony leads us to this holy confidence, not prideful, not loud, but deeply rooted. A faith that says, "It is well, even while I wait." Think back on all the prayers you've prayed, the ones with tears, the ones in silence. Do you really think they vanished into the air? No, each one was heard, held, and honored. And Saint Anthony has carried every single one to heaven with the love of a faithful friend. If you've been holding your breath for an answer, exhale. It's already been placed before God's throne. You may not feel it yet, but trust isn't about feelings. It's about knowing. Knowing that the one who created the stars hasn't forgotten your name. Knowing that Saint Anthony walks with you even when no one else does. And knowing that miracles often arrive after the moment you almost gave up. So don't give up now. There's something holy about waiting with confidence, not desperation, not begging, but expectation. Saint Anthony invites you to wait expectantly, not anxiously. To say, "God, I thank you now for what's already coming." That is the trust that draws heaven near. Do you remember when things worked out and you didn't see it coming? That job, that reconciliation, that healing, that wasn't coincidence. That was divine care. And the same God who showed up then is already moving now. Saint Anthony sees it. He's smiling because he knows what's ahead. Maybe what you're waiting for is greater than you imagined, and that's why it's taking time. Big miracles require divine choreography, people, resources, timing, all coming together in ways you can't see, but God sees. And Saint Anthony stands in the middle of it all, guiding the flow. You are not forgotten. It's okay to feel tired. Trust doesn't mean pretending to be strong all the time. It means leaning into grace. It means saying, "God, I don't have this, but I know you do." Saint Anthony is that gentle reminder when doubt creeps in. He whispers, "Keep going, it's closer than you think." And he's never been wrong. There's power in thanking God before the miracle comes. It shifts your posture from worry to worship. Say it out loud, "Thank you for what's on the way." Saint Anthony hears that prayer, and it moves him. Because gratitude in the waiting is a declaration of trust. You're not alone in this. So many others are believing right now, just like you. Together, you form a circle of faith, linked by hope and heavenly intercession. And Saint Anthony stands in the center, lifting every voice to the heart of God. Your prayer isn't lost in the crowd, it's amplified by unity. So keep trusting, keep believing. This is a moment to decide. Will you live in fear or will you walk in faith? You've come too far to stop now. Saint Anthony isn't just listening, he's acting. Miracles are not myths, they are real. And yours may be already unfolding. Maybe today is the day the call comes, the message arrives, the peace returns. Maybe tomorrow, maybe next week, but whenever it happens, you'll know God was with you every second. And Saint Anthony never left your side. You were carried the whole way. Look around at what hasn't changed yet, and then dare to thank God anyway. That's faith, that's trust, that's the soil where miracles grow. Your words create the atmosphere. Let them be filled with life. Speak as if it's already done, because in heaven's eyes, it is. The impossible is God's specialty. Saint Anthony has seen it countless times. People who were ready to give up, suddenly lifted. Families torn apart, suddenly restored. If he did it before, he'll do it again. Lift your eyes. Lift your head. Don't look down anymore. Your help is coming from above, and Saint Anthony is walking it to your door. It may not be wrapped like you expected, but it will be everything you prayed for. And more. You've done the praying. You've planted the seed. Now let God do the growing. Let Saint Anthony tend the soil. Let heaven send the rain. Let miracles bloom in their time. You don't have to strive. You just have to stay in faith. That's your only job now. Release the timeline. Release the pressure. Keep your heart open. Keep your spirit ready, because what's coming may arrive suddenly, and you'll want to be wide awake when it does. Saint Anthony will make sure of that. You are stronger than you know, not because of your strength, but because of your surrender. And that's where miracles love to land. Saint Anthony sees you. God sees you. And this is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of glory. Believe it. Let your trust be louder than your fear. Let your hope rise above the delay. Let your praise go ahead of your breakthrough, because the atmosphere is changing and heaven is moving. Today, walk in the confidence that something beautiful is being built behind the scenes. You may not see the foundation, but soon the structure will rise. Saint Anthony is helping lay every stone in prayer. And what you're building with God cannot be shaken. Stand firm. If you choose today to trust that your miracle is already on the way, comment, "I trust you, Lord," and invite others to believe with you. Let your trust become someone else's encouragement. Even when the wait feels long, your miracle is maturing. God doesn't rush what he values, and what he's preparing for you is worth the wait. Saint Anthony knows this well. He reminds you that the blessing isn't just in the answer, but in who you become while waiting. Wiser, softer, more rooted in faith. You're not being punished. You're being prepared. And preparation always precedes provision. You may not realize it, but you're being shaped to carry what you asked for. A new job requires new discipline. A restored relationship needs healed hearts. A financial miracle calls for wisdom to steward it well. God and Saint Anthony are preparing you, not just your circumstances. When you wake up tomorrow, choose trust again, even if nothing has changed yet. Because real faith isn't proven when things go right, but when nothing seems to move and you still believe. Say it before you see it. Praise before it's fixed. Smile before the answer comes. Saint Anthony sees every small act of trust, and heaven rewards them all. You are not wasting time. You are investing in eternity. Sometimes God lets us walk through the desert just to show us he can bring water from rocks. And Saint Anthony helps you spot the streams others miss. You may not see the oasis yet, but keep walking. Miracles meet those who move in trust. Take the next step, even if it's small, even if it's shaky. What if the miracle you're praying for becomes the miracle someone else receives because you shared this prayer? Your faith might be the spark that lights someone else's hope. That's the beauty of trust. It multiplies. Saint Anthony's intercession isn't just for you, it extends through you. So don't just hold it, share it. Declare this in your heart. My season is shifting, my miracle is coming, my heart is ready. Let that become your anthem in the waiting. Let trust be your companion through uncertainty, and let Saint Anthony be your guide through the unknown. He's never lost a cause. If peace hasn't come yet, it's on the way. If the answer is still delayed, it's not denied. If the breakthrough seems impossible, it's perfectly suited for Saint Anthony's intercession. So speak it again. I believe, I trust, I surrender. Let this be your sacred declaration, and watch what heaven begins to unfold. Your story will become a testimony. Your tears will water someone else's hope. Your miracle will remind someone else not to quit. And through it all, Saint Anthony will walk faithfully beside you until the day you say, it happened, just like I believed it would. If you've been strengthened by this final mystery, comment "Miracle in Motion" to declare that your blessing is unfolding right now and inspire others to keep believing. Final blessing. May heaven visit your home today. May the peace of God flood every corner of your heart tonight, silencing fear and awakening fresh hope. May Saint Anthony stand at the door of your home, guarding it against all harm, physical, emotional, and spiritual. Let his presence surround your family with healing, his voice intercede for your most impossible needs. May every word spoken in this prayer echo in heaven and return as a blessing multiplied. You are seen, you are loved, and you are not forgotten. I speak life over your body now. May every system, organ, and cell align with God's perfect design. May every sickness lose power. May every ache give way to comfort. May healing spring up where pain once ruled. And may Saint Anthony intercede for your full restoration, body, mind, and soul. Let your strength be renewed like the eagle, and your spirit be filled with peace deeper than any storm. I bless your home to be a place of refuge. Let laughter return to the living room. Let forgiveness soften every argument. Let meals be shared in love, and let kindness echo in every hallway. May Saint Anthony walk through your front door and never leave. May every window and threshold be marked by grace. May your children be protected, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Let every prodigal child find their way home. Let anxiety lift from their minds. Let peace surround their thoughts. May they walk in wisdom, in strength, and in favor with God and people. And may Saint Anthony lay his holy hand upon each one by name. I declare that financial burdens are lifting, that new opportunities are forming where old ones have died. May God surprise you with provision that only He can orchestrate. May Saint Anthony open doors you never thought possible, and may abundance be released in due time with grace and dignity. I bless your sleep tonight to be deep and full of peace. No more tossing, no more tears on the pillow. Let your bed become an altar of rest. Let your dreams be filled with clarity, light, and hope. Saint Anthony, stand guard through the night. I bless your faith to grow stronger with each passing day. Let every unanswered prayer become a reason to keep trusting. Let every delay become a declaration that something greater is being built. Saint Anthony, pray that this heart never gives up, no matter how long the wait. Let endurance give way to glory. May every broken relationship find a bridge to healing. Every silence be filled with gentle conversation. Every wall be replaced by reconciliation. May words of grace be spoken more often than words of judgment, and may Saint Anthony be the peacemaker at your family's table. I bless the work of your hands. Let your career path become clear. Let your efforts bear fruit. Let rejection be replaced by divine redirection, and let every project you touch be filled with excellence and favor. Saint Anthony, go before every interview, every meeting, every plan. May your mornings begin with strength and your nights close with gratitude. Let fear find no foothold in your life. Let shame lose its voice. Let joy be your portion, even when nothing makes sense. Saint Anthony, help us live with joy even in the waiting. I bless your past to no longer define you. Every mistake, every regret, every missed opportunity, may it all be washed in mercy. Let today be the start of something new. Let grace rewrite your story, and let Saint Anthony help you walk forward without looking back. Finally, I bless your spirit to be filled with bold faith, faith that dares to speak healing, faith that chooses peace over panic, faith that surrenders control and believes that heaven is listening, and faith that knows the miracle is already on the way. What if the only thing between you and your miracle is faith that refuses to quit? What if God has already sent the answer and you're just one prayer away from seeing it manifest? Have you allowed yourself to really believe that Saint Anthony's intercession could change everything? What will happen when you truly surrender control and walk boldly in trust? May you never again walk with the weight of shame on your back. Let the memories of past mistakes no longer steal your sleep. May Saint Anthony wrap you in mercy, reminding you daily that you are forgiven. Let guilt give way to grace, and may your heart finally know peace. You are not your past, you are God's beloved. May your faith rise like the morning sun, quiet but unstoppable. Even when clouds cover the sky, let your trust remain bright within you. Saint Anthony, be the lamp to guide every step when vision fails. May your inner flame never be extinguished by delay or disappointment. Let the light of hope shine even in the shadows. May your words speak life over every room you enter. Let your voice carry healing, courage, and kindness. Saint Anthony, teach us to use our speech as a tool of restoration. Remove bitterness from our language and replace it with truth in love. Let every conversation become a space of connection, not conflict. May your soul never grow numb to beauty. Let each sunrise remind you of resurrection. Let every breeze be a whisper of God's presence. Saint Anthony, awaken our senses to grace in ordinary places. May we live with eyes wide open to the blessings already here. May your hands always be open, ready to give and to receive. Release the need to control and cling. Embrace the joy of generosity. Saint Anthony, model for us a life of compassion in action. Let us find purpose not in what we keep, but in what we share. And may every act of kindness echo in eternity. May your mind be guarded against the attacks of doubt and discouragement. Let thoughts of fear be replaced with divine truth. Saint Anthony, intercede for clarity, wisdom, and discernment. May your mental health be renewed, restored, and stabilized. Let peace become the ruling voice in your thoughts. May every season of waiting be filled with meaning. Even when prayers feel unanswered, let your spirit grow strong. Saint Anthony, sustain us in the in-between. Help us to find beauty in the becoming and joy in the unseen progress God is making. May your spiritual ears be open to God's gentle whisper. Let distractions fall away and divine direction become clear. Saint Anthony, make us sensitive to heaven's nudges. Lead us away from confusion and toward God's perfect path. And when we wander, gently bring us back. May every person listening right now receive a sign of confirmation, whether through a message, a dream, or a divine encounter. Let heaven speak. Saint Anthony, we ask for a touch of the supernatural. a moment that can't be explained, only praised. May that sign come soon and unmistakably. Finally, may this prayer become a daily shelter, a place you can return to whenever the winds rise again. May Saint Anthony's presence remain near you, constant, compassionate, and faithful. Let his intercession bring heaven closer each day, and may your life be forever marked by miracles. You've walked through this entire prayer, and that means something powerful. Now tell me, what spoke to your heart the most? What part felt like it was written just for you? Comment your answer below, because the moment you reflect, you step into new faith. And remember, you will never be the same after this prayer. If this prayer touched your heart in any way, don't keep it to yourself. There is someone out there right now, hurting, searching, hoping, who needs exactly what you just heard. You could be the reason they don't give up. So hit the like button and, most importantly, share this video with someone who needs Saint Anthony's help. Let's spread this miracle together. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't yet. This is a space of faith, healing, and transformation. Every new prayer we release is designed to help you experience God's love through the intercession of powerful saints. And when you comment, you don't just interact. You create a circle of prayer around the world. So make your presence known. Let Saint Anthony see your name. Write Amém in the comments if you believe this prayer will bring your miracle. It may feel small, but it's a spiritual declaration that says, I trust in God's power. Don't underestimate the ripple effect your faith can cause. Every Amém, every share, every click, it multiplies grace. Let's make this prayer reach thousands who are ready for their breakthrough, because miracles aren't meant to be hidden, they're meant to be shared. And you, right now, are part of that divine movement. Thank you for being here. Your miracle is coming, and Saint Anthony walks with you until it arrives.